quote, this will stop you from giving or prohibit you from giving money to your political causes and the groups that you're a member of.
Well, that's just not true. It has absolutely no bearing on my personal activities. I can still vote. I can still sign up and work for a campaign. I can still band together with like-minded teachers, and we can organize and have our voices heard in that way. And if enough of us get together, you know, if the union does its job and enough of us sign up, then they still have all of the same money to deal with so that they can make their case down at the State House. All this does is make sure that there's that one extra step where we have to go to the bank to tell the union, yes, you can have our money. And
Don't you understand? Writing a check is a burden. According to the opponents of this, it is inconvenient for you to whip out your credit card or write that check. We are inconveniencing you, and you are so busy doing your job that you need the government, the people at taxpayer expense, to fund your money to the organizations you want to get funded. Not every organization. I don't see the NRA on this list of groups.
Well, and certainly my organizations are not being funded by this. Jefferson County Education Association 2 years ago officially endorsed in 8 races. They endorsed 7 Democrats, and they split their endorsement in the 8th race. Well, none of those were my voice. That's not how I would have wanted it to be. And even if that were, even if I were strange, which I'm perfectly willing to admit to, there are, I know from experience, vastly more Republicans in the ranks of teachers than that proportion would seem to indicate. From that proportion, you would guess that it's about 91%, 89, 91% of all teachers are Democrats. Well, that's not the case. That simply isn't the case. So all of those teachers out there who do vote Republican and who support Republican causes and conservative causes, well, we're already losing our voice because our union is so one-sided. So for us to simply not give our money to the union, well, okay, half of the union or 2/3 of the union may be losing a little piece of their voice. But the rest of us get a better voice because we're not being forced to give money to causes that we don't support.
Well, I'll make it clear. You bring up a superb point. That's not why I'm pushing this amendment. I understand that it's good for workers like you to have a right to be able to call up and say, you know what, I want to quit the union, or I want to stop paying, so please, bank, stop payment on this or stop my automatic withdrawal. I think that's an important part. For me, it's a matter of ethics, that should government be the workhorse, the conduit, the bagman that takes your money and brings it here. Let me ask you, if you supported your union, if you wanted to be part of the union, you wanted to help them out, you want to do it, how difficult is it? I know this is a silly question, but since this is a burden, how difficult is it to go online and set them up as an automatic withdrawal, or to give them your credit card number like you do down at the gym, and they come and take your money every month from your credit card, or even the old-fashioned way, you write a check once a year and you give them the check. I'm hearing that this is a burden, and I'm hearing that it takes away your right to give to these organizations. I need to hear from you just how burdensome that is.
Well, I find that tremendously condescending. Last time I looked, to be a teacher in the state of Colorado, you had to have a college degree. Presumably to get that college degree, you would have had to manage your way through a certain number of math classes, and probably it's somewhere along the way you would have had to learn how to manage a checkbook and write a check. So no, I don't find it burdensome at all to think in those lines. It really should be fairly simple, and if the union is doing its job and representing its members the way they're supposed to be represented, then there shouldn't be an issue.
I find it interesting that groups like the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce support us. The only folks that dislike us are the ones who get these checks delivered to them. Now, I understand that. We work in politics. We go down to the Gold Dome. We understand that these people are down trying to compete and to have a competitive advantage of not having to do your own banking, not having to do your own accounting, not having to be the collection agent. Most of these groups, whether it's the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, which endorsed us, or the Farm Bureau, which have endorsed us, they got to pay somebody to do that. The taxpayers don't pay for that service.
Yeah, essentially Amendment 49 levels the playing field. It levels the playing field for taxpayers, and it levels the playing field for all these different interest groups who are lobbying down at the state capitol. So none of them has this unfair advantage of government collection services. Now we talk about how convenient it is for teachers to set up automatic deductions or whatever other sort of payments. There's precedent for this. I mean,
how so?
Well, we look back in the out of state, for example, in South Carolina. South Carolina has a kind of a weird law in the books where their teachers aren't allowed to have the money deducted automatically through the payroll system, and their teachers union is still in existence and lobbying at the state capitol. So that's a scare tactic. The Colorado Association of Public Employees, which represents state government workers, until recently advertised very frequently and prominently on their website, members come join, sign up by paying with your credit card. So
click here on the website.
Click here, pay by credit card.
We all do that.
Easy.
It is easy. It's not a burden. The Rocky Mountain News, in endorsing this, they said, in other words, government provides a free dues collection service for major lobbyists. We've been using a tagline, 49 keeps lobbyists in line. Why? Because it rhymes, and we need to be able to remember these things. Is it fair to say that this helps keep lobbyists in line?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does keep lobbyists in line because lobbyists no longer have this special advantage of using government resources to continue the vicious cycle of promoting their agenda while on the take from government payroll. So definitely this has an impact of keeping lobbyists in line.
If all these groups in your school district, and we mentioned the networking association or the administrators network, we mentioned the school executives, we mentioned this, the teachers union, do you think that they will dry up and go away if members have to do what they've done in other states, which is just go online and pay for it themselves? Is this a death knell?
Absolutely not. I don't see how it could possibly be a death knell. Well, you mentioned the Administrators Association. Technically speaking, the administrators don't have a union. It's not a collective bargaining situation, but the district and the Administrators Association have come to certain agreements about how they're going to handle the negotiations between those groups. But there is still no union protections for that situation. So, even if the union starts to lose some of its power, which it won't. It simply won't. If it's doing its job, the members will sign up.
For those people who got far less than a minute here, for those people who are watching these ads and watching teachers and firefighters and cops and public employees like you saying this is going to ruin our lives, what's your response to that? What should people know?
People should know that it's not close to the truth. It's completely deceptive, and it really has absolutely no effect at all on what I do, certainly in the classroom, on a day-to-day basis.
And would you believe that those same comment was made by the Denver Post, the Rocky Mountain News, the Boulder Daily Camera, all who called that claim nonsense and laughable? I hope you take a look at the website, ethicalstandardsnow.com. Go to the Independence Institute, independenceinstitute.org. And boy, thank you for coming out and standing up and making the plain truth. Ben, thank you. Please take a look yourself and decide for yourself. I'm John Caldera. We'll see you next week.
You jab a jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. You jab a jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-gall. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.